Good evening, everyone. Welcome. The last Thursday in November 2014. So next week we move into December. So let's settle in for our evening. So having established our comfortable sitting position, a posture for meditation, to be meditative, meditating upon the present moment and the present moment experienced through the natural inflow, outflow experience of breathing. Whilst we live in a complex world, making meditation not complex, making it simple. Purity and simplicity, enabling inner ease and well-being, consciously, actively attending to the present moment through each soothing, therapeutic breath. So with our eyes gently closed, bringing awareness within, breathing out any stress tension that may have been building in our body over the happening of this day, the happening of this week, the week so far. Breathing out stress tension, relaxing awareness into our body, this platform of experience, first foundation of mindfulness, mindfulness of the body, sensing, feeling our body sitting, feeling grounded, settled, centered, present. Noticing some contact sensations, maybe feeling the feet connecting with the floor. Contact sensation, feet against the floor. Bringing our awareness up to sense and feel the touch of our body, connecting with the chair, cushion, or meditation stool. Feeling our hands resting comfortably in our lap. Sensation of hands and fingers. Relaxing the abdomen, belly area, softening the belly. Allowing the diaphragm to extend, expand, expanding the chest, lungs. Breathing freely. Noticing our face, even feeling the air connecting with our face. Some degree of light coming in through our closed eyelids. And consciously looking forward into that lightness, brightness, blankness through the closed eyelids. Being distracted or disturbed by any sounds that might occur. Not engaging into the sound or sight of thoughts, but with right intention, choosing to focus the mind in the present by connecting with each soothing, life-giving breath, especially feeling our breath at our nose nostril area, directing attention, sustaining attention. developing focus, collectedness, mental composure, concentration, nourishing mind body through mindfulness of breathing. Please help yourself to some tea and biscuits. In coming together as a group, what we create and form is a meditation group, and particularly a Buddhist meditation group. So practicing Buddhist meditation, but also appreciating and practicing the Buddha's teachings. So it's good to have an appreciation and understanding of the Buddha's teachings, which certainly help to enhance our practice of meditation. And the practice of meditation then also helps to enhance our understanding of the teachings. So both go very well together, sort of supporting our spiritual practice, Buddhist practice towards well-being. But I certainly find that the longer I study and read and learn about the Buddhist teachings, I find it incredibly a powerful, pragmatic practice for being able to live mindfully, live consciously. The Buddha's teachings are practical, pragmatic, and a very skillful approach to the realities that we face in being alive as a human being. In many ways, they're not so much a comment on the world, but a comment on how to receive and accommodate the world. And particularly the world in the sense of our existential experience of life, being alive as a human being, experiencing, so existentialism, experiencing the process of aging, which happens from the moment of birth, getting older, aging, illness, which is not necessarily when the body gets old, certainly pain and suffering in various forms and degrees through one's lifetime, and the inevitable experience of death. So how to accommodate, how to have understanding, perception, and reception of these experiences. This experience of being alive as a human being, the phenomenal experience of life, and being able to not be so caught up in the complexity and confusion of it, creating more distress and suffering for oneself and vicariously for others as well. Finding the way out. And certainly this is the fundamental, let's say, distress or even dilemma that the young Siddhartha Gautama faced, looking at life, looking at aging, illness, and death, and seeking to find relief from that. Not so much in terms of how to change aging and illness and death, but how to accommodate it and be less affected by these realities. So the Buddha's teachings are a very pragmatic, practical approach to that experience, and in many ways are a philosophy of life that includes, yes, an existential approach, even at times sort of a stoicism, like the Greek philosophers, even a sense of pondering metaphysical questions. What is the self? What happens after the body dies? Even a sense of, in context of philosophy, epistemology, in terms of studying what is true, what is reality, and even ontology, the meaning of being. What does it mean to be? And as well, this then flows on to the realities of the Buddha's teachings being a psychology. Buddha's often spoken about as being the first great psychologist that provided teachings that could bring not just some relief to our experience of life, but ultimate relief, where the ultimate relief from the stress and suffering of human existence is liberation. The mind completely liberated, and even liberated from being caught up into the whole cycle of samsara again when the body dies. Ultimate enlightenment, full, complete spiritual relief. So in many ways, a very, very thoughtful and practical applied approach to our experience of being alive as a human being. And it's certainly in that context, the Buddha provided great teachings and techniques and strategies and supports for that whole process. And particularly in the context of the Buddha's teachings, two discourses, two teachings that focus primarily on meditation. Anyone know what those two discourses are? Satipatthana. And the other one? We're doing it this evening. So the Anapanasati, yes, yeah, the Anapanasati Sutta. So the discourse on mindfulness of breathing. So Satipatthana, Anapanasati, Anapana, breathing, Sati, and then the Satipatthana Sutta, which is the mindfulness or the foundations of mindfulness. So Patthana, foundation, so foundations of mindfulness, and both discourses and teachings, they overlap, and particularly so the mindfulness of breathing is in the context of the first foundation of mindfulness, which is mindfulness of the body. There's various meditations in those four foundations of mindfulness, and and also contemplations, so meditations, contemplations, particularly for the purpose of developing insight, vipassana, and freeing the mind from confusion. And particularly the anapanasati practice, mindfulness of breathing, which then develops into mental collectedness, samadhi, deeper states of meditation, jhana, to develop that powerful mind to then be able to apply that powerful mind to see things clearly in the context of the Satipatthana foundations of mindfulness. And I find that again, the pragmatic approach here is that these teachings can be used, yes, for ultimate liberation of the mind, but also for practical living, regular life, even for regular people, without having to feel, oh, I'm not a Buddhist, then I shouldn't be doing this. It's like, no, this is just wisdom teachings that are practical, sensible for reducing stress and suffering in one's life. This evening, I wanted to particularly mention the Satipatthana, because I find that the work that I do as a psychologist, I very much resource the Buddhist teachings. I would see myself as a Buddhist psychologist, resourcing the Buddhist teachings to help people with accommodating the realities of their experience. And particularly what the Buddha was focusing upon was the challenges of that result in stress and suffering, and how to relieve that. The fact that, yes, there is stress and suffering in life, first truth. There is a cause to this stress and suffering. So we need to understand what the cause is. Having done so, then there's a possibility of the ending of stress and suffering, third noble truth, and there's the practice path, the process of healing towards that relief or liberation. But the four foundations of mindfulness, so mindfulness of body experience, what's going on in the body, mindfulness of felt experience, feelings, mindfulness of mind or mental states, and then mindfulness of what I refer to as more mental content, the content of the mental state. The Buddhist word is Dhamma without a capital D, so it's more like phenomena. And particularly for us, in a psychological way, it's particular thoughts, mental phenomena, thoughts that arise that create a certain mental state that also then manifests as body and feeling state. So very, very subjective, our particular subjective experience of things that then can be put into the context of looking at our experience through these four frames of reference. So often the Satipatthana is spoken about as the four frames of reference. So referencing an experience from these four domains, four areas. And I find the practical approach of this is amazing and wonderful, which also can lead to liberation, but also just to not being so caught up in regular, ordinary states, mental, physical states, and particularly where there's a crossover, the mental, physical crossing over into emotions. I was particularly thinking about this over this week because this time of year can be challenging. Hopefully not, but it can be challenging with various emotions coming up. For psychologists and psychotherapists, counselors, it often becomes a busy period. It's like, well, I'd like to wind down and have a holiday, but Christmas time, families, remembering stuff from the past and traumas and so forth. And so it can get quite sort of busy and challenging. So the four foundations of mindfulness can be a really helpful perspective to perceive and receive experience, particularly the unpleasant experience. So for example, I've been talking to clients about dealing with anxiety, but any phenomena, any experience could be like anger, could be despair, it could be grief, it could be a rage, it could be depression. And the mind very easily becomes identified with that particular emotion or experience. I'm depressed, or I'm angry, I'm furious or I'm anxious, and which is one word that describes actually a cluster of experience, mental, physical experiences. So the Buddha in his wisdom was saying, hey, have a look at an experience, but divide it up, break it into these four domains through which we experience life. Our life as a human being is fundamentally, subjectively, what's going on for us physically, what we're feeling, how's the state of mind, and what's going on in the mind. And if we can look at something from those four areas, it's less overwhelming. And we've got a way of working with it. And as soon as we're looking at it, we're becoming more objective to it. It's still our experience. So we might say, okay, anxiety, I'm anxious. Okay, so how can I look at anxiety without being so caught up in it? Well, how is anxiety manifesting through the four foundations of mindfulness? Well, what's the physical experience? And the person might say, well, I feel tense. Okay, tension, physical tension, tightness. And where is that? Is it in the ears? No, it's in the chest or in the stomach. And is it hot, warm, or cold? It's hot. Is it numb? No, it's piercing, it's throbbing. It's tight, hot, throbbing, piercing. And is it moving up or moving down? It's moving up into my throat. So being able to bring awareness to it and just noticing, okay, can you notice it? Can you accommodate it? Can you allow it to be there? So rather than getting caught up in psychological defense mechanisms, which could be clinging, condemning, reacting, resisting, denying, distracting, just have a look at it, notice it. So by noticing it, there's a bit of breathing space, psychological breathing space. I can notice the anxiety. If I am noticing, it means that I'm not anxious. I'm aware of the anxiety as it's manifesting as physical tension, tightness, heat, throbbing in this area. And how does it feel? Second foundation of mindfulness. Feels good? No, it doesn't feel good. So it's unpleasant. The Buddha said we have three main feelings, all experience that is felt through our body and even the mind as well comes down to three main feelings: pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, neither pleasant or unpleasant, more neutral feelings. And obviously, an experience like anxiety would be an unpleasant feeling because the tension, tightness, heat, throbbing, piercing, it's unpleasant. So we can notice it. We can notice it. And also in noticing it, we're noticing the characteristics of it, the Tilakkhana, the three characteristics. So is it stable? No, it's changing. It's getting tighter or it's getting looser. So it's impermanent. Or the feeling, is it getting more intense? Well, the more I'm aware of it, well, I'm just noticing it. Wow, it's strong. But the more I'm noticing it and not getting caught up into it, it's getting less. So it's impermanent. If you're noticing it, are you it? No, I'm noticing it. I'm not it. I'm aware of it. I'm relating to it, be not from it. So it's depersonalizing it. I'm aware of the phenomena of anxiety as it's manifesting, its physical aspect, its felt aspect, just noticing. So it's impermanent, it's unsatisfactory, unpleasant, and also it's not ultimately me. It's just an awareness of it. It's a phenomena arising and passing, caused through certain causes and conditions. It's passing. It will pass. And in terms of the mental state, so how is anxiety manifesting as a mental state? Oh, well, how is the state of mind? Is the mind calm and collected? No, it's distracted. It's distressed. It's it might even be focused on a topic. Is it refined or gross? It's gross. It's reactive. It's distressing. It's not sort of refined and subtle and like in a meditation. So I'm noticing how anxiety manifests in terms of that mental state. And in that mental state, yes, impermanent, unsatisfactory, not I, not self, not me, not mine, it's just rising and passing. What is the content of that mental state? Person might say, what do you mean? Okay, so there's a mental state, which is sort of like a state is like a plate of food, Thai green curry. But what's in the Thai green curry? Well, we've got some rice, we've got some green beans, we've maybe got some chicken, we've got maybe some peas, some green chili, bit of sauce and so forth. So the content that makes up the state of what's called Thai green curry. So, okay, particularly thoughts. Are the thoughts positive, negative, or neutral? Negative. Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Unpleasant. Are they about past, present, or future? Future, I'm worrying, I'm stressing. Are they about self, someone else, or something else? They're about me. Okay, and are they occurring as a mental image or a voice in my mind? In your mind? Oh, bit of both. Which is more dominant? Depending upon the person's tendency. Some people are more visual. They're seeing themselves doing something. Oh, it's going to be overwhelming. Or they might be hearing their own voice. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm going to fail like last time. So it depends. If it's a voice, is it your voice? Actually, it's my father's voice. Now we're a bit sort of psychotherapeutic. Or maybe my mother's voice. Or maybe it's my voice. Maybe the school teacher. Or if it's a mental image, it might be, okay, yeah, I see myself there. And so I would ask, well, is it color or black and white? Oh, it's color. Is it 2D or 3D? Oh, could be either. And so being able to sort of discern those thoughts and sort of noticing them as opposed to just being caught up in the drama, even like watching a movie and you lose actually sitting watching the movie, you are actually in it and feeling the whole experience. So developing that objective knowing so that the phenomena of anxiety can be accommodated, less fearful because we've broken it down into its fundamental elements, which we see are impermanent, unsatisfactory, not ultimately oneself, though that the mind often wants to make itself out of them. I'm anxious, I'm distressed, and so forth. But the sense of just noticing, just noticing. So the potential here is also for great insight. So yes, relieving some of the distress, some of the anxiety, but also great insight into seeing how the mind very easily identifies something, identifies with something, creates identity out of that, even connecting experiences of let's say anxiety. Yes, I was anxious then, I was anxious then, and anxious then, and I've always been anxious, but what, when you were asleep? Well, no, and you sleep, probably a third of your life. So a third of your life, you're not anxious. You might wake up anxious. You can't say that I'm always anxious. Or when you had certain pleasant experiences, were you anxious? No, I was having a good time. So helping to destabilize that sort of story of I'm an anxious person, I'm always anxious, or might be angry or depressed or whatever. So we sort of tell ourselves these stories that become like a myth that the mind believes in. So great insight can occur, and particularly also the sense of feeling, well, hey, if anxiety occurs again, I have a strategy, a technique, a way of accommodating, perceiving, even receiving it, as opposed to getting anxious, go and eat something. Getting anxious, go and buy something. Getting anxious, do something else. And so, no, if it comes up, I can accommodate it, I can be aware of it, and know that it will pass. It's just a passing phenomena, which I can view from these four foundations of mindfulness. So practical, pragmatic, even positive, psychological, founded in a philosophical understanding of the human condition, for the possibility of liberation, for the beauty of the Buddha's teachings. So maybe over the course of the next month or so, if you do have any unsettling, upsetting emotions or states that come up, just, okay, let's have a look at it through the four foundations of mindfulness. Okay, what's the body experience? What's the felt feeling tone, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral? How's it affecting the mental state? Anxiety come through, or whatever it might be, and what's the mental content? Any thoughts or questions about this? Seems pretty clear. And you can also use it for positive states as well, so you don't get attached to them. Very easy to get attached to the positive states. And I even recommend if it was difficult to deal with or work with an unpleasant state like anxiety or depression or anger or despair or whatever, practice with a positive state. So it's like, oh, I'm feeling so excited. Okay, I'm excited. Let's have a look at that. How's it manifesting as a body state? Maybe be some degree of tension. Adrenaline's there, excitement, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling. It's pleasant feeling. Mental state, about the future, looking forward to, and et cetera, and then also in terms of the thoughts as well. So it's easier to then have a look at it in that sense, the positive. But at the same time, may not be easy because the mind was, no, I don't want to sort of look at it. I want to indulge in it and feel excited and feel enthusiastic and enjoy it. But again, that's where the Buddha says, hey, watch out. That's where there can be a trap happening, the honeypot.
Mindfulness has to be very strong to not get stuck in the honeypot.
Yes, yes.
Either way.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Well, especially when we see that getting stuck and the attachment then leads to suffering. Enjoy the pleasant, but don't cling to it. It's like the somewhat upsetting way in which I've never seen this, but I was told that in certain parts of Asia, the way the villagers capture monkeys, might have heard it, yeah. So that they get a coconut and stick a hole in it and carve out some of the stuff from inside, and they put in a sweet, some sticky rice, and put it in there, and then tie it up to a palm tree, and the monkey comes along and sort of can smell it and lifts it up. It's tied onto a rope and sort of sticks its hand in, goes in like that, makes a fist, but then it can't get it out. It starts to squeal. Hunters come along with a net and they capture themselves a monkey. But the only thing keeping the monkey there is it's clinging. If it was able to let go, off. But monkeys just don't come with tails. There's plenty of human beings. Got caught. Yeah, so the four foundations of mindfulness, really, really practical, really, really helpful. And the more you are aware of them and use them, then it becomes almost an instant way of look at this. And maybe also it may be enough to just notice one of the four foundations. If there's anger, okay, notice body experience of that. Tightness, tension, heat. And then maybe, okay, just be aware of it. Breathe. Let go of the thoughts fueling the anger. Just be aware of the unpleasant sensation, breathing in and out through that sensation, that tightness.
So that awareness, should that be any different during meditation versus outside of meditation, or should we be looking at what's happening and trying to be aware of more foundations during and outside of meditation?
Ideally both, yeah. And certainly these can be practiced, and they're meant to be practiced as a meditation. And particularly if one's sitting and things start to come up, then you can look at it from that perspective of the four foundations. And also even as a sort of a meditation to actually bring up some emotion. Might be, oh, I keep on escaping from these feelings and I don't want to look at them. Okay, we're going to sit down, safe space, got some time, sit down, use some thoughts to bring up then the emotion, the feeling, whatever it might be, and that one's avoiding. And once it comes up strong enough, okay, that's strong enough, yeah. So body experience, feeling tone, mental state, mental content, look at it. So in a way, type of what's called systematic desensitization, so that we can work with even increasingly difficult, challenging emotions and states by practicing just with the ones that are a little bit more easy first and then progressing.
We pick and choose a little during meditation, like, so if it's just like a trivial thought that's come up, just kind of let it go and say not now.
Yeah.
But if it's something that's like maybe recurring, that's disrupting the meditation, then you would want to inspect it a bit more.
Yeah, it depends upon what you've set up of doing the meditation. So if you say, well, I'm just going to sit down, I'm going to do some anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, that's the task, not go into the four foundations and analyzing. But if if you're noticing that there's a constant feeling that comes up, or a memory that's seeking out, let's say, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to have a meditation. I'm going to sit down and allow that, or I'm going to actually invite it, or even bring it up by having some thoughts, bring up the memory, and okay, yeah, that was so painful, and I've been avoiding that for so long, but it's affecting my sleep, and so you work through it. So something to sort of try or experiment with. And certainly there's plenty of books. Certainly there's books about the Satipatthana from various meditation teachers, and also books about how to use it in the way that I'm explaining it as well. And apart from what I've said tonight, on my website, there's some wisdom podcasts, and particularly sets of four, which includes the four foundations of mindfulness. So thanks for coming out tonight. And some of you will be along for our Sunday half-day meditation retreat, the last session for the year. Our group meets until the 19th of December. So another, 3 weeks, I guess. Yeah. And so we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming.